Welcome back, everyone, for another week of A House Divided. This is going to be app 11. Can you guys believe that we have done this for 11 weeks now? Of A House Divided, brought to you by Foundry VTT. Thank you again for the partnership, Etropos, and everyone else on the Foundry team. As we're delving back in, not a whole lot of announcements, just generally super glad that we have you guys. I have been talking with a lot of GMs about joining the team and what that would mean, how we operate things, and it's really nice actually to hear how wonderful our community is, sometimes in contrast to some other outfits that I see out there. And it just reminds me again and again how lucky we are to have you, and not just the 6 people who are on my virtual left, but but you know, it's really nice to have the community as a whole. Thank you all for being part of Polyhedra. Thank you all for tuning in, even if it's for the stream and whatnot. That is amazing. If you guys want to campaign, you know, we have a whole lot of openings. Super excited that we're starting to do Cypher games. We're starting to do Pathfinder 2nd Edition games. There's going to be a new Pathfinder 2nd Edition game starting on Sundays. It's amazing. It's really cool. We couldn't, again, this crazy dream. This crazy dream would not be possible without you folks. But that's pretty much it as far... Oh, I have one very important piece of news as far as the Nerdiverse goes, because I'm too excited about it. See, I was one of the folks that was super excited about the Netflix adaptation of a lot of the Marvel smaller comics back in the day, because that was right around the time when Mila was born. So I would stay up all night with Mila. Sorry, that's my youngest. Making sure that she was taken care of, and I was watching these Marvel shows. So we learned that John Bernthal is supposedly going to return as the Punisher for the Disney Plus remake of those shows. So super excited, and I hope it's a continuation. Who knows what it's going to be? Who is that guy? It's the guy with the slightly big nose from the Walking Dead series too. Like slightly. Listen, I've got a big schnauzer. I know we're fellow schnoz, man. Yeah. With that, as we're delving back in, that's pretty much it for me. Do you guys have anything that you want to shut up before we delve into the storyline?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm all good.
All right, with that, welcome back for another week of A House Divided. Previously, our adventurers had stumbled into the Feywild, where you quickly learned things had been run by a couple. Chineros and Elsieth, the mother of Brockton, apparently had spent many a season, which accumulated to decades, within the Feywild. However, the process of being tethered to that place had turned Elsieth from a human woman into a beautiful fey creature, but more recently into a fey dragon who had apparently lost her mind. You were assaulted by a creature from the Shadowfell that apparently, according to Elsieth, had been working with Kryn, her brother, and Brockton's uncle, in order to attack her. For what purpose, you're not entirely sure yet. But you do know that Kryn apparently resides within the Shadowfell and has been plotting there for years. He had already shown promise in the magical, and Elsieth surmised, or at least guesstimated, that has only increased since then. You also found out that you have a new sister, Brockton. Your old sister has died. You saw her corpse hang in a tree. The Shadowfell mirrored version of the tree within the grove that you remember as a child, that you stood in when you brought Elsieth back from her madness. And really, you learned that you also had another sister named Sedea, that she had been working on some kind of a way to bridge the gap between the planes, to do something, help in some way. But she apparently had been caught in that process and was also now within the tree's bark, slowly being consumed by its energy. We're picking it back up as you had made your way through some of the Feyward house. You were given a special feast that evening. We had a wonderful, touching moment between Sebastian and Marcus in the hedge mazes, most important part of the last session. And we had a probing purple Myriad Henry looking through some of the things of the Feyward Manor, though finding that there was maybe a creature of powerful builds that could potentially tear the party apart. As we're picking back up, you have activated a gate that supposedly will take you back to the material plane at the very least, to the ruined manor. Now, you had gotten to the Feyward Manor through a gate that existed at the place where apparently some kind of shockwave ripped through the dining hall after Kryn had tried to stab his father to death. Or at least that was Elsieth's recollection of what happened that evening. We'll assume, this is relatively fluid, that you guys are taking your long rest. Party, what would you like to do with the hours that you potentially have within the Favored Manor?
I mean,
okay, cool.
Honestly, Brock.
No, we're just kidding.
Brock would probably try to catch up with his mom's son. Mm-hmm. You know, 20 years.
She tells you stories of experiencing spring and summer within the Feywild, the beauty of it, learning of creatures and plants and beasts and monstrosities of the Feywild that are beyond ken in the mortal plane, that she had always felt that she had a connection to this world, but that back in the day she had to keep it under wraps. Now, you do remember that your father was, or her father was somewhat forward-looking for his time, for the type of human, the generation of human that he was. Usk, for example, was a half-elf, something that was technically frowned upon, but accepted within the household. The butler being incredibly kind and actually coming from a royal line of elves himself, though in an attempt to bridge the gap between the nations, had been part of an exchange program. As you guys talk, she mentions that she swears she saw him every once in a while. So that should be impossible, for he must have died that night as well. He was directly next to Darius when Kryn tried to kill him. Everyone was torn apart. She was only able to turn away because she used her druidic magics, her primarily touched arcane powers in order to try to get out of there, bringing her and your sister into the Feywild. Though try as she might, she couldn't come back. She felt tethered. And during this, she also is pretty sure that Kryn must be similarly tethered, that this weird, shadowy creature that attacked and killed Trinaris was maybe something that Kryn is using to try to expand his sphere of influence, that she had seen signs of Kryn before, but never his body. It was a letter here, a note there. It seemed that he tried to reach out with magic, sending things through the planar borders. At first, he tried to reconcile, be nice. She had no way of replying to him. She remembered getting a sense, a magical reaching out of his into his mind directly. As she tried to reply, there was no response back. And as the incredibly loud truck with a BDE individual is driving away from my house at this very moment, what else would you all like to talk about, discuss?
I mean, I will let the party know of the treasure that is upstairs, but I will also forewarn them that there's a giant bird thing that is up there as well. That kind of seemed very intimidating.
Good to know.
I think we could take it.
Little confident there, Abby.
Bryn has a renewed vigor, you could say.
The only thing I would like to do is attune to my weapon, but that's about it.
Okay.
Nope, not allowed.
Assume that you have it tuned.
I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Where do you go? What do you do?
We jump into the portal. It's probably gonna be like, okay, so this is to the Shadowfell then? We hop through here and then we're back to your guys' home. I'm pointing at the twins.
I don't think so. Well, let me give it a sniff. Does it smell like it could lead to the Shadowfell? DM?
Make me a perception check.
What does the Shadowfell smell like?
It's
Death.
your home.
Decay.
Very
Perception, you
gloomy.
said? Sorry, you said perception or investigation?
Perception check.
Perception. That's gonna be an
With
18.
an 18, you smell at the magical portal that you cannot exactly see through. There's no shimmering. There's no like a weird translucence where you can see past it. It just seems to have this weird orange glow that seems to be taking its power from the crystals that you guys used to activate this portal in the first place. But as you do, the only thing that you really smell is still notes from the feast that you received the evening before, where the hag that functions as the chef within the kitchens of the Fayward Manor had prepared you something delicious. There's still the notes of what smell like coriander, maybe a little bit of cinnamon, and definitely just like a little bit of a pungent curry within all of it. It was delicious, but it was a bit overwhelming from your bland taste that you have developed.
Yes. No, smells way too hearty and enjoyable to be the Shadowfell, honestly. No.
Drag Sebastian's palate.
Yes. Thank you. It's been perfected over the years.
And the
So-
Shadowfell,
so
they
we-
triple decant wines, so they really like lose their flavor.
It's
before
just
you can
water.
actually drink it.
Exactly.
It's
We like
just
your
water.
tongue to feel, but it needs to feel as dry as possible. You know, you need to just make it feel like it's gonna stick to something.
It's like, have you ever seen those videos where they put wine through a Brita filter to see if it'll take the alcohol out? That's
I've
what I
never even
imagine.
seen a video
I've seen the
before.
ones about vodka, and it like supposedly like takes a lot of the
It will.
harshness out of
It
it.
does make vodka less charcoaly, but you can put wine through a Brita filter and it will dilute the color, but it will still taste like wine.
Whoa.
Well,
Sounds like a crime.
Hashtag not sponsored. but
Yeah, exactly.
Brita?
Vodka, please, if you need
Yeah,
help, seek
sorry.
help.
You can put the wine
Trademark.
through
Brita can do anything.
generic water filter.
Oh boy. All right, so you are gathered up. You see Elsieth walks around and give each of you a big hug, kind of lingering on you, Marcus, and Brockton. She kind of has both of you kind of holding your hands. Please make sure that Sadea comes back in one piece. I know you can.
That's the goal.
If we find multiple pieces of her, not to be morbid, but
That's quite
is that
morbid.
also acceptable? Oh, all right.
Preferably one piece? This is my daughter we're speaking of.
Well, I'm talking about for burial purposes, of course. No disrespect. I'm
Let's not
simply
jump
being
ahead.
pragmatic.
Let's not jump ahead. We will get back.
Yes, dear.
We
I
can
mean,
ask that
Marcus.
later. It's a great question,
They're married.
I think.
If you come across her body and she has passed already, then I suppose yes, whatever you can, please return to me. Though I really hope that is not
Noted.
the case.
As do I.
As do
Yeah.
I.
As do I for certain.
I mean, a corpse is a corpse, really. One man's trash.
If you
Oh dear. Oh god.
His
if you do
friend
anything,
started
All right.
to
anything
like.
untoward towards
Enough.
my, and you can see that
Nope,
her hair
not a
starts
problem.
to fly up a little bit,
I
and there's just like a weird like her iris has changed from this green to like this auburn. If you do anything to my daughter's,
no worries, mother. I will make sure that does not happen.
she takes a deep breath,
Same
and
here.
you can see her iris is kind of turned back to green. Interesting friends you have.
Yes, I think Maybe they're under a little too much stress right now and aren't thinking clearly.
I would suppose so.
I mean, I thought I was being really logical, you know? CC?
You were, dear. They're very sensitive in the Feywild, clearly.
Understandable.
She kind of squeezes both of your hands there for a second, kind of looking towards Celine and kind of like nods you over as well.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What?
Never mind. And as she takes Marcus and Brockton off, kind of like walk them out of the library for a second. Please make sure they don't do anything stupid over there. Kryn is not one for games or stupidity. If his ego is hurt, he will murder everyone.
I intend to try and keep everyone focused and under control, shall we say.
Thank you. A little farewell gift. And as she kind of holds out her hand, you see green energy kind of pulls into both of your hands, vines kind of like wrapping around and turning into what seems to be like a little bit of a bracer on your left arms. You can see that there seem to be like these flecks of emeralds, definitely translucent and then magical in nature kind of forming there, as both of you guys get a death ward cast upon you.
Ooh.
Oh, thank God. I mean...
Huh? Oh. Well, this ought to keep you alive if you do find yourselves in dire straits. I would have liked to enchant more of your people, but, well... And she just trails off.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mother.
Yes. We'll do everything we can.
Good luck. And Marcus? Is there a different name you'd like to be called by?
I don't know. Marcus just feels... It's a name I've known for... more than 20 years. It's okay.
I shall call you Dandelion, for that is what you remind me of. Strong, beautiful, and capable of surviving the harshest conditions. Marcus.
I have been called quite dandy.
You are the dandiest of the dandelions. Should you ever need more, the offer to join the court will continue to exist. The same for you, Brockton.
I will consider that.
Good. I hope you think about it thoroughly. I would love to have you by my side once more. It has been too long.
It has.
Now off with you two. Go be heroes. I wish I could accompany you, but the stupid spell that my father has cast. If you can figure out how to break the enchantment, well, I hope I will be able to find out. I will attempt every hour to break free, to pass through. Hopefully that will be possible.
I know they may not be that knowledgeable sometimes when it comes to manners and basic decency, but we do have a very strong group with us who are all fantastically magically gifted and well adept in the arcanes. And
Yes.
Henry is really great.
Though I suppose...
The real one especially.
Indeed. Yeah, you might want to figure that out too, how to bring the real
Yes.
Henry back.
I keep calling him
Yes,
Henry.
we have a lot on our plates right now.
Maybe you can lure them into a trap of sorts. Perhaps bring them back to the Feyward, and if we have to dispatch of them, we can, in order to bring your friend back. This is all out of earshot for the rest of you.
Potentially. Myriad did say he had the real Henry hostage, so
I know. Maybe it is a hostage trade-off situation, you know?
I'm
I
I'm
love
not
this.
certain how to get him back from the mirror world.
Oh, one must not let people push one around simply because they want something. You push back, my dear. You always push back. Remember this, Sir Dandelion.
Marcus is just completely red at that. Just, yes, okay. Thank you, yes.
She goes over. She
What's
gives
her
you a
name?
little a peck on the cheek, Brockton. Stay safe out there, okay?
I'll do my best, Mother. We'll try and get Sadea back to you as quickly as possible.
Thank you. And yourself.
All right, come on, Yaskier. I mean, Marcus, let's go.
Toss a coin to your witcher. Thank God you said something because it's been. Oh my gosh. I had to. Thank you. Oof.
With that, you guys all step through the portal. Is there any snippy remarks, Bryn, Sebastian, Celine, before we step through the portal? A little last
Snippy?
little zing.
Portrait of
Thank goodness.
I would never.
Good riddance. That's it.
Alrighty.
Have a little more sense of humor in the Fey Ward.
Hmm.
As you all step through, you see as behind you the gate kind of opens up as you guys step through, and then it seems to kind of flicker and shift. You can see it then slowly become smaller and close as you are upon the second story of the library.
Oh, right. We went through a different portal. I was like, this isn't the room we came from.
I can't see anything.
Yeah, I've got black.
It
It is blackness. Oh, there we go.
was next to me.
I'm sure one
That's
of you
me.
at the very least is going to do the good old light spell as
Oh.
you make it reappear.
I can see in the dark.
Good for you, Bryn. Oh,
I also don't have the lights, but
Well, that was
We haven't-
exciting.
Have we been in this room before? Oh, yes.
Uh,
I know where we are.
you can still see my blood. It's a bit dried up, but it's just like right over there.
where are we?
Yes, quite.
Right.
The room where the books attacked us, I
Right.
believe.
Oh, we're just above it. We're on the second floor of the library.
Not the chalk fairy. Chalk fairy strikes again.
I know where we're at now.
All right.
Uh,
Bryn, do you think
Fun.
this portal can take us to the Shadowfell if we use the right crystals to trigger it?
Well, if you direct your attention to the floor, this portal is blank.
Yes, but didn't you draw in at least part of the symbol on the other one?
I mean, yeah, I could try, but no promises it'll be the right one.
That's the spirit.
Just use your impeccable memory. It is impeccable, isn't it?
Well,
Do you-
yeah, but it's only
Do
a
we
third
need to
of
go
a
back-
portal. You can't really.
Do we need to go back to the one in Grandfather's study then?
Well, no, I have that one written down too. But
Do I know of any other
correct
portals?
me
that
if I'm wrong,
might-
David, but none of them were the actual finished, like, rune sigils for the actual portal that Darius used, right? It was all.
Yeah, they all had portions of it so far. So you seem to have collected 2/3 of the magic circle so far, but you hope.
And the full circle was just like the foundation,
Mhm.
right? It was the base.
Yeah. This also is an adjusted teleportation circle, though the one that you're currently standing on, the one that you travel through in order to return back to what clearly is the prime material once more, is significantly more simplistic than the one that is in Darius's bedroom. To answer your question, Myriad, you do know of the odd creatures that live within the former dining hall. And in fact, Myriad is very, very, very scared of those beings, as they are capable of inflicting a lot of damage. Thus, Myriad has, for the most part, always stayed away from that place. Though, on the flip side, indeed, that is the one always-on portal that Myriad would know about.
The one we went through?
Yes.
Where the skeleton ghosty thing is.
Yes, I would really rather not go back there, so if you could make this one work, that would be peachy.
We could always try going to the tree. You know, we haven't actually been there yet, and it seems like the tree was significant on the Fae side of things.
And the Shadowfell side of things, technically.
Exactly. Maybe there's just a portal sitting right there in the dead center of the whole thing.
That would be really
Convenient.
great.
There are
Exactly.
other
Actually was.
there are other parts of the house we have yet to explore.
Brockton, did your uncle have a room that he preferred to stay in here?
Do I know of any such a thing, David?
I mean, he didn't spend a whole lot of time towards his latter years here. But you do know that when he spends time here, he usually preferred, his childhood room, which you guys had passed by and checked out. No, it is not the red room. But overall, there wasn't necessarily a room that he spent a lot of time in, especially as of the more recent years. So you were too young to really see him in the context of living at the house.
He was not often here by the time I was old enough to remember anything, so...
I see. Holding on
Is
to
there
the
al-
hope that he has no.
Was there also a basement here? Maybe we could
Yes,
go
if you
there.
recall, when we went down the spiral staircase,
Right.
it was blocked off with a collapse.
Mm.
I'm sure there's another way down there.
Like a root
Not
cellar
sure.
sort of
Where?
outside entrance.
And then there's the rest of the third floor outside of the mirror room that we haven't explored yet either.
Right.
So I would say, since we're on the second floor already, do we want to go look at the upstairs while we're here?
Might as well.
Why not?
Myriad, will you keep your cohorts from harassing us while we're here trying to do this?
I mean, I can do my best. It will be see, but I mean, I guess David, can I direct them to any particular spot that they're is there another portion of a circle that I might know about?
No. So you, Myriad, know specifically there is no other teleportation circle.
Yeah, if you're looking for another circle, there is nothing else in the house. I mean, I have been here for quite a long time, so I know all of these stupid rooms, and so there's really nothing else inside of them. I don't know what
Fair enough.
exactly you're looking for, but
Well, that's more or less what we're looking for.
yes,
Oh, you probably can't go outside either, can you?
I cannot. I can get a little bit, away from the house, and that, but then I just can't go very far. So, if we want to fix me first, that would be fantastic.
That's priority B.
I
On the
consider
list of
priority A.
If you want to give us back Henry now and trust that we'll come back and help you later, we'd be okay with that.
No, yeah, that would never happen.
Yes, we can make a bargain, something like what do they call them, an oath or something. We'll make an oath that we'll come
Ooh.
back.
Oh, that sounds. Oof. Don't want to tie myself up in something like that.
No, bad idea. All right.
I feel like you could break that easily, so I'm not going to worry about that one too much.
You would think so, but
Or what if maybe a sacrifice of some kind? What if we don't come back to help you, then we just hand you over Bryn, and then you guys can all have Bryn?
That's so crazy because I was thinking, what if we left Sebastian here as collateral, and
Oh my
then
goodness! Great minds think alike.
All right.
We are on a bit of a time crunch.
Yeah, I
True.
mean, I can wing it, I guess, if we don't have anything else to go on.
Yes, I mean, I say you try and fix the circle, or we can go to your grandfather's study, right? That one is more intact, and you could look at that one as well, right? But I think you could do it, Bryn.
Well, that one I jotted down, but it still wasn't like the full. I have bits and pieces, but not a full circle.
Alright, how many mundines am I going to have to cast here?
Doctor, what do you want to do?
I'm at a loss outside of at least trying to use this circle. I don't have any other ideas.
There you are.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start. Oh well, I probably have to go grab some stuff out of Darius's room first. I don't really have any. What do I need? Chalk? I don't have any of that.
Chalk? Oh, here you go.
Did you get the chalk from, CC?
Chalk store?
You just
Obviously.
produce chalk?
It's
Yes.
a spell.
It's chalk. Mm-hmm.
Comes out of her hand as chalk.
That makes
That's
it worse.
marvelous. So impressive.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
A 4th level spell?
Get
What?
that checked out.
Never mind.
I'll just take out the different sketches that I have of the different circles. And I guess so I have a partially completed circle, the foundation of all of the circles, and parts of the sigils that represent the Shadowfell. So I guess I'll try and kind of make a conglomeration of it all.
Sure thing. You guys spent like a good hour as you kind of sit there watching Marcus and Bryn construct things. As you do, you are able to once again trigger it using the black crystals. As you hit them upon there, you look upon it and you suddenly see as it once again seems to kick into effect, hovering there.
It's purple. That's promising.
Nice job.
Oh, wow.
See, I knew you could do it.
I'm incredibly impressed, actually. It's impressive.
Unsurprised.
I knew you could do it, Bryn. All faith.
Celine?
No, I'll
You
be
know-
honest. I did not think you could do it. I am surprised, but congratulations. No, that's impressive.
Yeah, in the
Knew
name
it.
of
Yeah, I thought for
chivalry,
sure there's no way you would do it. Really.
you know, ladies first and all that.
All right, let's do this. I'll step through.
Alrighty.
Oh man, Brock got a revelation. That was real quick.
One by one, you step through the Shadeward portal, quickly finding yourselves in what appears to be a beautifully preserved version of the home. Indeed, what you are looking at is a narrow balcony that runs the edge of the ruin, features a larger area to the south. You can see that it is accessible, much like the prime material manor was in the first place. And as you look about, you can see that the old magic circle that you're standing upon is much more carefully maintained, which is odd at first glance, but you kind of check out things. It seems like the arcane geometry here has been altered, changed, improved even. One of you go to make me an investigation check, and one an arcana, please.
Just one of us in general.
Mm-hmm.
I got investigation.
Yeah, I'll do Arcana.
That's my thing. Sort of.
Hey!
Nice, guy.
The circle platform here is seemingly in perfect condition. This is something that even stands out to you, Brockton. It seems like there are some receptacles around the circle that look like they fit in some kind of objects. Now, as you look upon it, you can indeed tell that, much like the other ones, the code of the teleportation here has been very clearly changed. However, it also seems to be waiting for some kind of how to best put this, for some kind of command word. This might be able to do more than the others have been able to. It seems like someone has worked on this. And as you look at the receptacles, you can see that they are filled with weird crystalline objects, that at the center of which have some kind of round, almost like an orb, the crystal kind of seemingly growing off of them. Bryn, with your Arcana check, you realize these are the types of crystals that Darius had described within his studies.
Is it safe to assume that the orbs are planar pearls for different planes of existence?
As you have that thought, suddenly the gate kind of closes down. You see the energy kind of die down in each one of the crystals. But otherwise, everything is quiet.
Are the sigils the same?
Sebastian? Sorry, go ahead.
Are the sigils the same, or are they different?
What sigils?
On the teleportation circle.
Same as what?
As all of the other ones we've seen. Is it the
Partially,
same
yes.
kind of...
They're similar to the ones in the libraries so far, but they are not as advanced as the one in Darius's bedchamber. So there are significant differences. Darius's bedchamber, much more advanced. This is like a full-on private jet. This one right here is like a little biplane. It's cool, it works, but it's not quite the same level of complexity from an arcane
But
standpoint.
it's more perfected than like the one we just went through on the other side.
Significantly and modified.
Then I will also take a sketch of this one. Just real quick.
As Bryn is going to sit down for 10 minutes and do that, the rest of you guys kind of look about. As you look down, I mean, your hearts might soar at the sight of this very beast-esque library down below. In Brockton, it's interesting how this place in general makes you feel much more like your childhood, but there's something weird about it. As you look around, you look at the walls, you look at the hangings, you can tell that there is a dreariness, a sadness, a darkness that hangs over all of this, though it is neat and pristine. Marcus, I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh. Okay.
You're good at those, right?
Bastian, we're home.
Just
Ooh.
feel
So
like
good
home.
at those, actually. At a whole 7.
As Marcus, you feel sickened to your stomach as you step there, from the radiance, the vibrance, the beauty, the multi-hued color, the amazingness that is the home, that is the Feywild that you grew up in, and you step into this place, and it feels like stepping from warmth and hearth and happiness into the coldest winter in the middle of God knows where, Wyoming. And you step in there crunching the snow beneath your feet, proverbially speaking. There's just a sadness that suddenly just seeps into you. It's almost like the emotion of sadness is distilled into your being, and you're just like, you immediately get like a piercing headache. And you feel queasy. You kind of like actually feel vertigo as you kind of like sit down, hanging onto the railing.
Feel all right.
What's up, Bryn?
No.
Question DM.
Mhm.
I know it's mechanically poison, but not actually poison. But does the Hero's Feast that we haven't talked about do anything for that for Marcus?
It seems to have no effect to protect Marcus against it, sadly.
Also, how is Purple Henry, reacting to being in another plane that's not the house and the material plane?
How do you feel, Henry, seeing a house that... I mean, this is clearly the home that you were created in and have layered in for many a decade, but it is beautiful, pristine, put together. How do you feel about it?
I think he feels a little impatient and annoyed because he really wants to be free, So he really wants to get out of here because he knows it's fake. He feels like he feels like it's fake right now. And he does want to just like start ripping up like these desks and just like throwing them across the room and rampaging through the house and just tearing everything apart. So,
Sebastian, Celine, for you two, you feel like you have just come out of a blisteringly hot, humid Florida day where it's just kind of like disgusting. Your skin is weird and clammy against you, and as you step into the Shadowfell, it feels like calm. Cool is spreading across your skin. Perfectly dry air surrounds you. You take a deep breath in, and there's no weirdness that gets in there. It's just stale dust and comfort.
Serenity.
Indeed.
I feel like I can think.
Thank goodness.
Marcus, are you all right? You don't look so well.
No, I just give me a moment. It's like the worst hangover I've ever had, and
Oh,
is it? Oh, how are the rest of you? Oh, actually, Lily puts on that pelt now. Like, oh God.
Sebastian has a thought, and he's gonna feel at his chest for his talisman, which is a very bold, like green gem that shines a little bit. And I'll walk up to Marcus, and I'll take it off, and if you'll allow me, I think this might help. I could be wrong, but I'll put it around your neck.
Oh,
This was given to me by someone very powerful and one of the most, other than my sister, one of the most amazing women individuals I've ever had the fortune to meet. And I think maybe while we're here, you should wear it. Also given being from the Fae, maybe it might also, do you favors while you're here.
I think. Does
Welcome.
it help at all?
Yeah, does it help at all?
You put it on, and it's a beautiful piece of jewelry. The green gem is just gorgeously cut, and you look upon it and you kind of hold it in your palm for a moment. And as you hold it up to kind of like scintillate back the red reflection of these sconces that are inset into the wall's corners here, kind of beautifully refracting it. But there is a deep pain and darkness. Go ahead and make me an insight check, Marcus. As you have a hard time reading a stone, it turns out. You feel like there is a compressed sadness and rigor here. It's hard. It's like looking at emotion and feeling it swirl within your palm. It's like it tries to, through tendrils, pierce into your own psyche, but it's hard to suss out. But Marcus, you feel a weird kindred in that moment where you had to suppress your true nature and not show who you are. You look towards Sebastian, and the way that he acts, the way that he speaks, the way that he is, it seems to be antithetical to what a Shadowfell person would be as far as the stories that you had heard. How beautiful Sebastian would have been if he had only had the opportunity to grow up in the Feywild, to be pure, beautiful chaos.
Marcus will just squeeze Sebastian's hand. Thank you. This is truly wonderful. Thank you so much.
I'll hold your hand a little longer. I'll let it linger before I retreat. You're welcome.
With that,
All right.
as you're in the process of still scrawling things out, suddenly there is a knock upon the door. Doof, doof, doof. Then the door opens. And as it does, you see a man step forward. He seems to be wearing drab black clothing. He has a coat around his shoulders that seems to be made out of long raven feathers. A clasp is attached around his neck that is indeed a silvered head of a raven. But what maybe chills your bones the most, Brockton, is that you recognize this man. For it is none other than the butler, Usk.
Excuse me. I did not know that we were going to have guests this day. Could you please identify yourselves?
Well, Usk, you probably don't recognize me because it's been over 20 years, but it's Brockton.
Brockton?
My boy. And he kind of walks over.
Is that truly you?
It is.
And he kind of like, you can see the smile though. Make me an insight check, Brockton. Kind of spread there as he's kind of
Insight.
considering you there.
22.
For a 22, you can see that there is sadness in it. That the smile doesn't quite. There's no smize. What do you call that when you smile with your eyes? There's none of that. The smile does not reach the upper portion of his face. So he goes,
Lord Brockton, what brings you to Lord Grin's estate?
We have been exploring the manor, trying to suss out what actually happened all those years ago, and
You have?
we found this portal,
Oh,
and here we are.
well, I shall of course announce your coming, though I doubt that Lord Grin is not already aware of your coming. What is your purpose for the visit? It has been quite some time.
We are here to kill him.
What
Holy
is wrong with you?
Bloodless. No.
No, our business is our own, and we will have an audience with Kryn, as a representative of the Raven Queen myself. I demand it.
Yes, of course.
Right away. The quicker the better. Please.
Oh.
Calm down.
What? Did I say something wrong?
We don't need to be making
They're very
demands.
sensitive.
Of course. What are your names? How may I introduce you?
Oh, you're so quick.
Sebastian Bainwell.
Of course.
I am Celine Bainwell.
Mr. and Mrs. Bainwell, do you have a... Is that your noble title? Do you have a specific title by which I should refer to you as? The Lord and Lady of the Bainwell Estates?
Representatives of the Raven Queen will do.
Soul
And they're
Collectors.
actually twins, not...
Oh, I apologize. I did see the family resemblance, though. Well, there's quite a bit of intermarriage within the people who live within this plane, I suppose.
I don't think she's his type, regardless.
I'm quite
You never know.
uncomfortable with the dating
Oh, no, not like that.
norms within the Shadowfell myself, I must say.
Bainwell's
Mark.
Lord Brockton.
Marcus, they've got
Oh, are you quite all right?
plain sickness. It's a bit of jet lag.
I remember it well. I remember it well. Indeed, I will perhaps make you some tea. It has helped me in the past. It will take you some time to overcome this.
Thank you.
Of course.
His eyes meet yours, Bryn, in the back there.
Oh. Hello.
He says in Elven.
Are you alright? Do you need tea as well? Sir.
I'm Brindelior. I say in Elven.
Well met. It has been a long time since I've seen someone from the homeland. How fares the kingdom?
Not great.
I see. Apologies, I didn't mean to be rude. It's
Switching back into common.
It is always wonderful to see my people. Well, people from the homeland. If you would please follow me. You must tell me,
And as you guys are walking, Usk kind of says,
you must tell me how you have come to be here. A portal, you said. Have you constructed the arcane structure like Lord Kryn has?
Not exactly. Much more rudimentary.
I see.
Bryn can give you more detail. I just followed.
I see.
as with that.
Myriad will whisper to the group as we're walking, "The second I see Kryn, I am going to kill him."
Don't you dare.
I'm going to assume, since I'm talking to Usk, that I can't hear that.
Go ahead and make me a perception check. And, actually, what's your passive perception? And then Myriad, go ahead and make me a stealth check based on charisma, please.
19 is my passive.
Ooh, a stealth check based on charisma.
Barbarians are good at those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. I have no idea. Is that just a charisma check?
If you're not proficient,
I'm not proficient yet. Yeah, so 5. No, he is loudly saying it. He's like, I hate this guy so much.
You guys arrive in the foyer, and there you see, standing perfectly still like statues, 2 of these Onyx Knights that you had fought within the Shadow Grove before. As Os kind of turns towards you all, as you're kind of like following behind, it's like,
I must advise against a course of action in this manner. If you seek to do battle with Lord Kryn, you will find yourself utterly overwhelmed quickly. He has mastered many of the more powerful magics during our years within the Shadowfell. The Shadeward Manor is a place that holds many enchantment that he has put upon it himself. It is a dangerous, dangerous thing to do.
Myriad, understand this. If you attack him, we will not help.
Yeah, Myriad will just, he's very frustrated right now because, he is the person that killed him, that basically did this to him. So,
Please remain here for the time being. I will get the master momentarily.
and with that, he starts to head northward and out of sight. As you guys stand within the foyer with these Onyx Knights, not making any kind of sound of breathing, standing perfectly still. This is worse than Buckingham Palace kind of demeanor.
I turn around and look at the twins. Would you like first go at him?
First go at who?
Kryn. Since you're here as a representative of the Raven Queen and demand an audience, I wouldn't want to get in the way.
I wouldn't mind. But it is your famous uncle. You know, if there's some catching up you all have to do.
Infamous might be a better word, but if you would like to go first, by all means.
You can sort out your business first.
Very well.
Just
Just make it clear. So we're not going to kill this man. Like, are we really sure about that? After what he did to us.
As of right now, I have no intention of attacking you.
I mean, he has strung two of your sisters up to a tree and drained them of their life forces.
Yes, and I need to try and get the one free that is hopefully still alive.
So we do that by killing him.
no.
We are in the seat of his power.
Myria, that's about as smart as us trying to fight you in the mirrors. Now, do you understand?
That would be hilarious.
See,
That is
it's
after the
laughable.
town Henry died. Or, captured.
Die.
Captured.
That's
I'd
that's
mind
Precious
the
to
blood
doubt.
loss, though.
I'm just gonna awkwardly assume that this is a guest book and write my name in the guest book.
You indeed do, and you see, even just like a cursory glance, it seems like most of the pages are empty except for a couple names. You can decipher that it seems to be Vostolas, Vostolas. They seem to have been in and out a handful of times over the last decade or so. And something by the name of Lyranth, Lyranth. However, that name doesn't appear until the early pages, and there you can see it must have been some 16 years ago, if those entries are to be believed.
Not a lot of guests.
As the
I
door,
will blink and my eyes are going to go black.
Mhm.
I'd like to detect magic. Please?
all right, you get sense of necromancy from this, and there seems to be a tinge of enchantment, illusion, and divination kind of humming in the entirety of the hall. As the door to the left opens, you see a beautiful, devilish man step forward. You see two curved horns piercing out of their forehead, deep red eyes glowing, golden hair kind of scintillating backwards. You can see a tight, beautifully patterned set of pants, nice riding boots, and what seems to be a very tightly fitted, upon their very beautifully structured body, red vest. As they step forward, I think the thing that probably draws everyone's attention the most are a double set of wings growing out of this individual's back, and a book that they casually hold in their hand. Well. Guests in the manor. This is unexpected.
Do I recognize this as some form of Kryn? Does it look like him?
Make me
at all?
Maybe actually a religion check, Brockton.
Religion? I'm actually not bad at those.
Does it look like someone who in
It's a
any of our
10.
other campaigns would be considered a hot baddie like everyone else?
You look upon them, and they are certainly too young appearing to be Kryn, though the problem here is this is clearly an infernal influence. It's something that the church would immediately brand as something that needs to be destroyed. You're not quite sure. You don't know what type of fiendish creature this might be, but fiendish it is. Could it be Kryn? Did Kryn perhaps make a deal with the devil? Well, are you all going to keep me waiting forever, or are we going to have a nice conversation here?
I'll step
Is it-
around the table.
it's not proper for you to be announced.
Oh,
confess.
no. I am simply a guest, a librarian here. I suppose I should announce myself then. I'm perhaps a man of import, but not within these walls. My name is Vostulas, and I'm the librarian of the Shadeward Manor. Who might you be? You see his beautiful white teeth kind of in his big, charming smile open up.
Sebastian Bainwell. Here.
Steps forward and comfortably stands amongst all of you, easily towering maybe like 6.5 feet. As he grabs your hand, Sebastian, he touches his lips upon the back of your hand. Very well met. Kind of gently lets it go back. Do I spot a resemblance between the two of you?
I'll say an infernal. Celine Bainwell.
Ooh, a woman of
Sounds
the
exactly
mind.
like it does in common. Who knew?
Sounds exactly like it does in Infernal.
No.
No,
it's
it
like-
doesn't. You
It's like you don't.
Infernal.
Yeah.
Do you know Infernal? You don't know that. It sounds very different.
I actually do speak Infernal.
Yeah, and just to
Well, then you
give,
understood it.
give Marissa some credit here. You know, my name is technically David in German, but you say David in English. So yeah, maybe it's like Céline, or it's Céline. It's kind of more French suddenly. Now suddenly Infernal is
Saline,
French.
why
of
so
course.
salty?
Hot take. Infernal is
Sailing.
French.
Oh no! I'm sorry, Flo, if you're watching. But
Oui.
oh no. And so he goes, oh, someone who speaks the infernal tongue. Wonderful. So, you have me all at a disadvantage. I have not seen many guests come through the Shedward Manor. Is this place going to be more trafficked from hence on?
No.
Not likely.
I see. Well, that is disappointing. I was really hoping there would be more fun. Though, I suppose it has been nice. There's something wonderful about the Shadowfell. A peace and quiet that you often don't get from the other places in the multiverse. You. And he kind of turns towards you, Bryn. You look like a learned man. Someone who understands the value of books and words, perhaps. Do you bring some knowledge, some writing from the outside? I see I must have flustered you. Wait, why don't you take a moment and gather yourself? I apologize. I do have that effect, I fear. Well, you are a wonderful sight for sore eyes. I hope you will stay here for a while at the very least, even if there's no more traffic to come through. It is quite drab, I fear, with Kryn and his family is the only true... And he looks over his shoulder towards one of the Onyx Knights. Conversation companions around here.
Question. DM.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a connection? Maybe it was obvious, I don't know. But was there like when he said family and he looked at the knights, is there a connection there? Like, could I...
Make me an insight check, Sebastian.
Okay.
With a
That's gonna be a 14.
With a 14, you don't think that what he meant was, hey, that Onyx Knight is one of his family members, but rather Kryn's family lives here. So you remember that Kryn had married a woman who had brought a child into that marriage. It seems that they are still very well and alive and must be living within the manor. And if anything, he was referring to these Onyx Knights as poor conversationalists.
Friend, new friend, I've Your name is so long and beautiful, I've already forgotten it. I just cast a glance at Marcus, like, sorry. Your patron, this Lord Kryn.
Oh, that is, I suppose, a stretching of the term, but sure, let's refer to him as such for the time being.
What's he like?
Severe, introverted, smart, has a temper. Though I suppose from what I have heard from his son, that hasn't always been the case. He was much more of a hothead in his youth, but I suppose years in the Shadowfell will temper most, i.e., well, temperament.
Does he have a favorite drink or anything? Is there anything he likes a lot?
Well, I suppose anything that can come in from the outside. He, you see, cannot leave this place. Something that is quite unique. Something that I'm, in fact, studying during my vacation here.
Interesting. So he doesn't frequent the gardens, is what you're saying?
Oh, that he does, indeed.
Oh.
Though the Grove, I suppose, is a place that I, too, do not visit. That belongs to another. A creature that seems to have made its lair there of sorts, though Kryn, I believe, does parley with it on occasion.
Fascinating.
Fascinating indeed. Now, maybe it is time for my own questions. I could not help but to overhear the noises that started to ring through my library. And it was interesting, boisterous. A voice that I have not heard yet, which means that it must be... And you see his beautifully manicured black nail kind of pointing towards Myriad. You are here to challenge Lord Kryn to a duel, is that it?
He is the reason the way we are. So I would very much like to see his head on the ground, separated from his body.
You are. You all, or just you?
Just me.
And exactly
just us.
Way is that?
I guess Henry will, drop his disguise as Henry and just be...
Purple person.
Purple person.
As you turn into a purple person, you can see the eyes kind of go wider. You can see there seems to be almost mascara upon the beautiful eyelashes. You can see now there's actually a little bit of purple shadow across the eyelids as well, as he kind of considers you. You are beautiful. I have never seen anything like it. Do you mind if I approached you?
He'll hold out his hand.
He picks up the hands and gently but expertly, almost like with a little bit of a terseness that is graceful, kind of like spins around and considers your skin, just like gently caressing it, almost running alongside it. Beautiful. Amazing. Kind of spins you around, almost like you're two are a pair of dancers for a second. The eyes. Do you see with all of them at once?
Unfortunately.
And you say we. Is this a different terminology, or are you actually a multitude?
It depends on the day, on the time, but yes, we are all in here, but most of the time I'm in control. But there are others in here as well.
How many?
An entire household of staff.
Fascinating. But you're the one who's in charge.
For the moment, yes.
What happens when they become the ones in charge?
They get to decide.
That must be frustrating.
It is super frustrating. It just makes me want to eat the next person I see.
A creature of my own tastes. You and I should have a conversation, perhaps. I've come across a problem like yours before. I have a solution that is elegant, but perhaps a bit... Well, let's say that for some individuals it might raise an eyebrow. Though I think that you beautiful thing, you might understand the possibilities that we could explore together.
If you could fix this, then I will agree to it as of right now.
I believe, and I apologize, I did not even ask, I was just so stunned by your beauty. What is your name?
We are Myriad.
Myriad. That has power to it. I like it. If Lord Kryn does come by, though, he does like to have people wait, I suppose. He has done it to me many a time, for no apparent reason other to try to make some kind of power play. Why don't you all excuse Myriad and me for just a moment? You're welcome to come to the library as well, but this does only pertain to them and me.
Is Celine going like crazy jealous right now? Stop touching my man!
He looks like a purple person right now, not like Henry, so
Yeah.
that's the saving grace.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not good. It's not good. He's not looking at her, but she's looking at him.
Go ahead and make me a stealth check to see if you can kind of like keep it under wraps, so to speak.
Oh, me, okay. Oh, so good at this.
Oh.
Natural one.
Oh.
Especially in the very beginning, maybe suddenly you're fuming, and it kind of ebbs away perhaps a little bit during the time that he turned to his purple person, but you think to maybe yourself that, holy shit, what does that mean? If this smooth talking winged devil can help Myriad, what does that mean for you guys' leverage potentially to get Henry back?
Well then, please follow me.
Wait, all of us?
Pardon me. I don't think that's a very good idea. We shouldn't leave this room. We are waiting on the Lord of the Manor. After all, it would be terrible manners, and I, for one, hold manners paramount. It's very important to have good manners, always.
Oh, I believe...
Myriad will just keep on walking.
I believe Kryn will forgive me. I have been quite an asset in my time to him. Good day. I will see you soon.
As the door closes.
This is a delay I was not expecting. Hope we're able to
Well.
get this day out on time. In time.
David?
Mm-hmm.
Demarcus just like peek through the windows, like, move the curtains and see what's like on the outside.
You move them, and as you look outside here, because they're not quite set up, I'll just do it like this. You look outside and see a beautiful, and I mean absolutely gorgeous, kind of like a, what is that called? Cobblestone, like a driveway for carriages to kind of come up towards it. You can see that there are roses outside and beautiful red petals kind of strewn about, but it's dark. It's dreary. You see up at the sky and you see rolling black clouds. You can see that any of the trees that are out there are just black, gnarled things reaching dead towards the sky. It makes you shudder, if anything.
Ugh. I'm gonna take a seat right here.
You also
We're all just
see
going to stand here.
you also see two onyx knights that seem to be ringing like on each side of the double door that leads into this place. Maybe that was the piece of information you were looking for.
I will walk right up to this door and try to use thaumaturgy to open it. Slam it open.
It was clearly locked from the inside.
Shit, that would be much cooler if it was not. Doctor,
Yes.
is Henry not your friend? Am I the only one concerned with his welfare?
I am concerned with Henry's welfare. That is not Henry.
No, but that is how we get Henry back.
I feel like we can find a way to get him back regardless. I'm more
You
worried
feel
about...
like we can?
I'm more worried about Myriad getting us all killed as soon as Kryn shows up than anything at the moment. But if you'd like to go in there, you just made your presence known. Why don't you try knocking? You were invited, after all.
Knocking. It's a good idea. I'll knock.
Alrighty. Let's switch for a moment to the room. As you walk in, you see the beautiful books kind of strewn about. As Vasalas kind of steps towards you, puts an arm up on one of the bookshelves, and just kind of leans in close.
You have, it appears, a multitude of souls stuck within this creature that you became, it sounds. What happened?
It was Kryn and a Hatevort that caused us to... I don't really know what happened, but it caused us to be this.
And you were what before? People?
Yes, normal people, servants, house cleaners, gardeners.
Well, that sounds boring. He flicks his hand, and suddenly you see there's just a little little explosion of what seems to be red light, and a little imp kind of flutters down towards.
Yes, master.
Could you bring some wine? Kind of looks for you, to you, Marianne, for confirmation.
Yes, I love wine. I ran out of it a long time ago.
Yes,
I
master.
would love to drink.
And kind of flies away and poofs out of existence.
I have helped another individual before. The resurrection terribly gone wrong. The soul ended up embedding itself in the cleric, and their god was, of course, deaf to their plight, letting them figure it out on their own. What a terrible fate. I learned a method by which one can splice...
As the thaumaturgy kind of kicks, you kind of see a little flicker of annoyance and a smile across his face.
A way to splice the souls apart, leaving one in charge. And I must say, this body of yours is fascinating. Can you keep shifting into new forms as you have?
I can.
Interesting. And it is what, revenge that you want?
He is the one that caused us to be like this, and then tethered to that house. So I would like freedom.
She is quite insistent, that one.
But it's because I have their friend trapped in my world.
You do know.
I do.
That is very, very clever. I'm guessing the individual I saw at first is this friend.
Yes, he's a very tasty individual. I love nibbling on him. It is, provides great sustenance.
I do like nibbling too.
Which
The
means that
screens are adorable.
these people outside are a danger to you.
I would say so, yes.
But an asset, potentially, as well. What makes you want to deal with them? Why haven't you eaten them all?
I need them to free me. As I said, I am trapped in the house on the real world, so to speak, and I cannot leave. And so I hope that, there's a few of them that know magic, and I do not. And I hope that they can free me from the house.
What do you
But if
think
not,
keeps you bound to this real world house, as you call it?
I have no idea. It's just a pull. I can't leave. Every time I try and leave, it's just annoying.
It seems to be a similar phenomenon as to what happens to Kryn when he tries to leave. Fascinating. It is indeed, I apologize, the study. Celine once again bangs on the door. The study that I am conducting here has to do with the tethering that is appearing. I tell you what. Hello! We'll be right with you, dear. As the imp reappears with wine. Here you go, master. Has Lord Kryn already arrived? It has not. Wonderful. Would you mind bringing some wine to the others as well? Of course, master. As the imp once again kind of disappears as it flutters away. Here. As you kind of just gulp it down. Delicious. Absolutely a wine that you have never tasted before. The quality of it is probably like a century-old wine. Ridiculous. I have a offer to propose. If you would hear me out.
That's why I came into the room.
Your problem with the multiple souls contained within you is something that I can easily take care of. And in fact, I will be frank with you. I am a purveyor, a collector of souls. I will need you to find a way to have them all agree to sign an infernal contract, to sign them into infernal servitude. I want to be very frank with you. Is that something that you find palatable?
What? I mean, I am palatable to it. I don't know about them, but what would they get out of it, I guess? Would they be free? They do not like it being in here either, being trapped.
Indeed, they would no longer be trapped with you. They would have their freedom as such, and potentially one day become as I am, if they do well. And it appears that they are already used to stringent structures of hierarchy. This could, if anything, be a path forward for them.
Okay, I guess, I don't know, can Henry talk to them? I guess, Myriad talk to them and be like, hey guys, you guys want out of this? Like,
Your
seems like this is
eyes
the way forward.
kind of close as you turn inwards, and there's a turmoil of emotions and piercing back and forth. What do you think? What do you think it looks like on the inside of Myriad with so many voices, kind of like talking over each other, trying to wrest control, be the one in charge of the body?
I think it's like a fun house of mirrors, right? Where it's not really like really fun, and everyone just like crashing against the mirrors and like trying to like break through, like arms like sticking through the mirrors, trying to like reach out and like break out of them.
Hey, Seneschal, you can't be serious about this. I mean, it is quite bad in here. No, it's worse on the outside. What this means life. Look how long we've lived inside of this. I know, but do you enjoy this? Yes, it's better than dying, than going to the hells. Oh.
And you, Seneschal, leader of all of them, the head of the Myriad, what do you say to quiet the multitude of voices as they seem to talk over each other, fighting?
I guess it'll just be like, quiet! And like yell, like, really loud, and be like, this could end our hunger. This could end our stupid tethering to that house. And then we could all be free of one another. Because, at first it was wonderful. We were all friends, but over time, I have grown to hate every single one of you.
Impromptu exercise. The 5 of you are the other 5 staff members contained within the body in this moment. Go.
Oh, God. That sounds chaotic.
You've been nothing but a bully, and you hate us?
I'm hungry.
Are we there yet?
me.
Well, I'm quite tired of you speaking for me. I've never in all my years had to be dealt with some insufferable fool as you.
Well, if you sign this contract, then you can speak for yourself again one day. But
My
if you,
God,
you
you're
could,
all so loud.
Go back to sleep, George.
no one wants to hear about you. Go back into the mirror.
You need to at least find out if you signing this applies to all of us or just you.
That is what he said. He said we all had to sign.
I missed that.
Don't you ever
George
listen
was
to me?
snoring in my ear.
That is fair. That is fair. His snore. See, imagine you would never have to deal with George's snoring ever again, and you could actually have a meal. You could break out of this little area that's where, and we could leave the house.
You know what? This is hell enough. I think another hell would be just fine. Go ahead and sign.
All right.
Do all of the
Follow
other
your
souls
heart.
agree?
What if we all run in a different direction?
You get pulled back into the mirror.
There's a part of me that wants to ask about, Henry, but I don't think the staff would actually give a shit.
No, we're 100% just like eating on his like legs. It's like, oh yeah, that's good meat. Bound there.
No. I suppose a little time in hell is better than being in here any longer. I don't think those others that you've been working with know what they're doing, or have any intent on bringing us out.
Yeah, and if any of the devils look half as good as him.
What is happening?
And this describes Myriad's insanity so perfectly well.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, if I was locked in a room with 20 people for 20 years, yeah, I'd want to murder probably every single one of them. That's
In your
crazy.
mind? You can't even
Yeah,
hide from them?
exactly. Yeah,
You get brutally honest to each other, though, so it's always direct communication.
it's fair. It's fair.
Your eyes kind of flicker open again. So,
If you could free us all, they agree as well.
I would leave one of you in charge, of course. One of you would not have to be consigned to hell. One could potentially work with me henceforth. It would be something that you would be interested in.
Would you agree to free us from the bond of the house?
That I'm not entirely sure we can do yet, but I will be able to untether their souls from your body. I suppose, if anything, the person who would remain in the body would be the one who still is tethered. So in a way, maybe you and I can help each other. I want to figure out what exactly caused this tethering. So if you are willing to stay in this body until we can figure this out, the others can go free.
I hate being tethered, but the voices are drowning. All right, where do I sign? Where do we sign?
he waves his hand as there's just a contract that appears as red lines in common write out the terms of the release of the other souls in exchange for releasing them from this. I would like perhaps an addendum, if you will. Will you let me have the source of the tethering if we find it? If we can release you of it, of course.
I do not care. It is all yours.
Indeed. In that case, I will lend you aid against Lord Kryn. As a second line for the writer appears down below. Go ahead and sign.
Yeah, I guess
Meanwhile-
all of us will sign.
As one by one you guys kind of go through. Selena's, you're like, open the damn door! Suddenly there's just an imp that kind of appears with a dusty looking wine bottle.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm quite well. How are you this evening?
Very well, thank you.
Great to hear. Our master has sent us to deliver wine unto you. You did seem quite parched. He's finishing up business as we speak.
Is he indeed? Can you open this door?
No.
Very well. Does he have glasses too, or just the bottle?
As he kind of like, he kind of just makes them appear out of thin air. A beautiful, thin-stemmed, very broad glass. He kind of like leans down as he kind of puts like a perfect pouring in there.
Here you go.
Flutters over towards you.
For you.
Marcus kind of hands you a glass.
Yes.
And one by one kind of flutters around.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
As Celine, you hear footsteps approach the door.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah.
The door opens up. Myriad, Seneschal. One by one you sign. And the voices one by one fade away. It is like a migraine that has finally stopped after decades. It feels like standing alone in an opera hall. It is beautiful. It is quiet. Thank you for giving us the privacy that was required to help your friend. Myriad, the Seneschal, is now solely in control of his body. Their body. I don't want to assume what you will go with henceforth. So, this should be a boon in your henceforth conquests.
I appreciate the kindness that you have shown me. Me! It is just me! Then he just starts laughing happily.
I love helping people.
You might have just killed our friend, so.
What do you mean it's just you? What happened to Henry?
Henry is still with us. Do not worry about your friend. He is still my bargaining chip. I don't ever say "our" anymore. Oh, that's wonderful.
If anything, I have done you a favor. You seem to care about this Henry. Yes?
Not at all.
Make me a
Where'd you
deception.
get a ridiculous idea like that?
I will let him know that you said that.
Did I get a natural one again?
You sure did.
Wow, here we are again, Foundry. Here we are again.
Oh,
The
bless
shade.
you. Come on, my love.
Thank you.
You and I both know that you clearly care about this man. Myriad here, the Seneschal, he's a unique breed. A creature that was created out of an unfortunate incident. Myriad, you do not have to kill this Henry. In fact, this entire relationship between you six is best founded upon trust. Keep this in mind going forward. It is good to have a bargaining chip, but trusting one another is the best way to go.
Thank you for the advice.
Oh, you seem shocked that a devil would say such a thing.
A little bit, yes. Yes.
You see, I'm quite good at what I do. I've noticed that people are much more willing to give up their souls when they receive an earnest benefit, something that helps them genuinely in life. And for some of us, afterlife is not quite so nice. I myself had to claw my way from the river where I was reborn. Bit by bit, I became what I am now. I've no more a recollection of my life before I became this.
But you know what is nice? Being able to live eternally in pleasure and bliss. It is something that I would wish upon anyone. And let's be honest, there are some people who deserve to die in hell. So why not make them sign a little contract in the process? Very well then. Your friend here, Myriad, is of course free to go. I hope and wish you good luck in your endeavors within the Shadeward Manor. Should you need my assistance, I will be in the library.
We will come get you when we need you.
Good luck, my friend.
And with that, so his wings kind of take the outside of the doors, and as he steps backward, just close it. Enjoy yourselves! As the imp kind of disappears out of sight as well.
So,
He did say that he was going to help us kill Kryn when we need it, so that is going to be great. Now, can we kill him?
let's not get hasty. So, you're you?
I am me now.
What should we refer to you as?
You can call me Seneschal.
Seneschal. Alright.
That's a title. Don't you have a name?
I don't remember my name anymore. They just called me Seneschal. You can call me Seneschal.
Fair enough.
Seneschal is...
It's been
Oh,
a long time. But there are no more voices in my head. That are all gone now.
that's lovely.
It is lovely.
Seneschal, may I humbly request that you don't state what you had stated earlier out loud? This man is known to have a bit of a temper, and I hate to see anything hasty happen.
As Usk reappears.
Apologies for the long delay, but Lord Kryn is now ready for you. If you would please accompany me.
Lead on.
And with that, we're going to take a quick break. See you guys here in 5 to 10 minutes. Alrighty, and we are back. Of course, the thing that I completely forgot to do in the meantime is shift you all over, because we ended up, full disclosure, get a little bit distracted by the wonderfulness that is a certain kind of liquor that doesn't sponsor us, so we're just not going to talk about it, you know?
Just whiskey in
tasty.
general. We're not sponsored by whiskey, the alcohol type.
But
Not
If anybody's
yet.
interested-
As you guys are led down the hallway, down a path that you guys recognize to be the path towards the dining room, I will drop you guys down so we can skip over some of this.
Okay. 20-year-old butler is back.
Indeed, he does look extremely young.
It's a living.
Usk kind of turns towards you as you guys are following him, and it's just like, please don't do anything untoward. It could be quite dangerous for you. And he seems to kind of like nervously look towards the completely still, dead-looking creature that is this Onyx Knight. Are you all ready then?
I believe so.
I guess so.
Ready as we'll ever be.
Very well then. As he kind of steps forward and opens the door. Master Corvinaris, Lord, this here is, Brockton Langstrom. Your nephew returned. As you step in, Brockton, before you even get to that chair, you recognize that there is a
Oh, that
young
was the
man
chair.
right here. He seems to be sporting elven ears and what seems to be a ruddy, almost like a ranger's outfit of what looks like a leather breastplate, some hides underneath, kind of like this big poofy mantle around. But the thing that probably disturbs you the most is that at his side are two mastiffs, dogs, wretched in appearance. They seem to be almost like wargs. But the most disgusting part about them is that in multiple spots, their skin has been flensed or flayed off. And though their bones are showing, they themselves are very much still active as they kind of like start to kind of like sniff at you. Yeah.
Would I perchance recognize this as Vaxilis?
And indeed, you recognize this young man to be none other than technically your cousin-in-law, Vaxilis.
Step cousin. Right?
Mhm.
Step cousin?
I don't know how family
Relationships are
work.
confusing.
Not even once.
Just don't get married, kid.
Welcome, cousin. Come, sit down.
As the rest of you guys all filter in, you see at the far end of the hall two individuals kind of standing behind their seats. You see the advanced age on Kryn Corvinaris' face seems to have halted somehow. He is wearing an ostentatious but beautiful in its weird mauve muted tones outfit, a little white scarf. You see that his eyes seem to be deeply set, but he still possesses the very regal posture that clearly had been drilled into him. You can see that there's some gray hairs threaded in with the rest of his crown. But the thing that probably makes you more uneasy is his wife to his side. Vivesna was beautiful to behold in life. The golden hair tousling over her shoulders. She always had a penchant for the fans, but there's something weird about her. She wears this porcelain mask upon the upper part of her face. There's a glow in her eyes that you don't remember. Her hair is almost parchment white, and the lower part of her face looks like that of a corpse.
Enough, Vax. Please, sit at my side, would you? Be a good boy.
Yes, Kryn. As he whistles, two creatures kind of start to follow him. As they kind of push back towards the area.
Sweet puppies they are.
Yeah, aren't they?
They really are.
You can pet him if you want to.
May I?
Of course.
I will. I'm gonna get in there.
I also want to pet the puppies, but I don't like him, and he creeps me out.
Aren't you beautiful? Oh.
I give them little nose bridge scritches where they don't actually have any flesh left, so it's just bone scritches.
And they still respond pretty much the same way. As you kind of approach there, you see Vax actually levels his crossbow at you, Brockton.
Oh,
Hey, that's close enough now.
You see
Fair
Kryn kind of
enough.
shoot him a dirty look of, that is no way to treat a guest.
I know, but we heard him.
Vax, please. Brockton, you and your
Cool.
kindred are welcome to sit on the other end of the table. There's much that we have to discuss, it seems.
Very well.
Please, make
Just,
yourselves comfortable.
What is his wife holding? Not because I think it's going to be important, but because it looks like a turkey baster, and that's all I can think it is until you tell me what it actually is.
It appears to be an ivory wand. If anything, it looks very reminiscent of one that Alex could very quickly produce, I'm sure.
It's over there somewhere.
Damn.
That makes sense. Wand makes more sense.
It's with that.
Get really nervous for a second there when you
baster.
talked about Alex producing an ivory wand. Anyway,
Oh my god,
YA,
Damon.
YA,
Too
YA,
far. Too
YA.
far.
And we're banned. We're banned for
Okay. It was nice. It was nice when we lasted.
Yay.
As they all sit down, there seems to be almost like this lulling nature to whom you only presume to be Vivesna. You see Kryn kind of put a gentle hand upon Vivesna's shoulder and slowly guides her down onto the chair.
There you go, my love. There you go.
Vax, put down the crossbow.
You're making a bad call, Kryn.
As they all sit down, they motion for you to do the same. And you see shadowy servants kind of just appear out of nowhere, out of thin air, as Usk kind of backs out, closes the door behind himself, giving you a long look, Brockton, of like, almost like you can do this. The shadowy servants flit around you and seem to just kind of take some of the wine that is already upon the table, poured out for you.
Brockton, my boy. How fares the material plane?
well, for the most part, as far as I can tell. Unless maybe you're an elf, and it's a bit less so.
Oh. You catch his eyes definitely kind of look towards Vax and Vivesna and then back towards you.
I gather the crown has utterly routed the Elven Kingdom at this point?
More or less, yes.
Well, I suppose
It's
that was
unfortunate.
inevitable. What of the business? Have you carried it on?
No, it's been gone as long as you have.
A twitch at the side of his left eye, but he seems to just kind of nod towards himself.
I suppose there was also a likely scenario. What of your grandfather?
Kind of swishes his wine, not looking you in the eye as he asks that.
Also, gone. The same amount of time.
Interesting. So
Everyone in the house that night disappeared with no
Everyone?
trace. Everyone.
I overheard you, and I suppose apologies should be in order, though. I suppose hearing someone speak about killing you is something that is within the purview of your own home. You speak in the foyer. He kind of looks at Henry. I'm sorry, I don't recognize you. You were part of the staff?
Henry is totally not in Henry form. He's totally in purple person form right now. But he'd be like, I was part of the staff. I was the seneschal.
I see. I remember you. You were strict, brutal, efficient. You were one of the only staff that actually knew what they were doing. The rest of them were buffoons, idiots that my father kept around even though he shouldn't have. He should have fired them on the spot. He had every right to. You, on the other hand, were the only true good hire that he ever made. For what it's worth, my dear Frank, it was always a pleasure to have you around. It was nice to see an orderly home where my father's faculty slowly left him after my mother's death. And I'm sorry for what happened to you that evening. I suppose you were, and he kind of seems to look up at the ceiling of this room. Huh. I suppose you were in the staff quarters that evening.
I was, along with the rest of us.
Indeed. I had to kill my father that evening. It was simply the only way to avoid him, well, reaching too far. Denying me what was rightfully mine. And you became collateral damage, it appears. The arcane energy seems to have transmuted you, mutated you.
That would be putting it lightly, but yes.
If you want, I can conduct magical experiments to see if I can return you to your original form.
I will put it bluntly, I do not trust you to do anything on me, so I will pass.
That is fair. I recognize. That anger in myself. Vex, tell that damned dog to shut up. I understand you're here to attempt... make an attempt upon my life, I suppose. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Before you answer that, hold a question in your mind. Turn it over. Consider it from every angle. I have had a long time within this manor that is rightfully mine. Brockton. Your mother and I had our differences over the years. But I suppose distance creates at least a truce.
To be clear, Uncle, I had no intention of coming here to kill you.
Oh, well, that is refreshing to hear.
That's merely the seneschal being hasty.
Well, what have you come to do then? I would like to hear your reason for being here.
Well, the reason for me personally is twofold. I would like to understand from your perspective all that happened that night. Because I lost my entire family, or at least I thought I did, until very recently.
Oh no, you are quite correct. You did. My father's folly began after my mother died. Vivesna seems to kind of giggle at the mention of that, kind of like a weird, almost like a childlike laugh. My love, please. Kind of covering her mouth with a laugh. My father was a genius man. A man that was driven by an understanding of the arcane that surpassed many of the other genius minds of his time. And like him, I inherited the gift of magic in our blood. Have you exhibited this yet?
I only within the last day or so discovered that I have some of the nature fey magic that the what's the word she used? Primal magic that Mother had.
I see. Primal. Shame. So no manifestation of true magic.
No.
Well,
Seems to have skipped me.
no. Children?
No.
No, I
So it may well
suppose.
have ended with you.
I intend to change that, or at least foreclose that ending. What is the state of the manor?
It's decrepit, little more than a ruin.
Unfortunate. But something that can be remedied, of course. I'll be frank with you, Brockton. I would like to return to the prime material plane. Your question hinged upon what happened that evening. The truth is that grandfather, from your perspective, was trying to achieve immortality. I discovered that he had been working on a project to indefinitely extend his life, circumventing inheritance altogether, yet formally announcing Usk as the inheritor of our family's name and fortune. The business was to go to your mother, though I simply did not see the purpose in that, no offense. He was going to leave me without fortune, without inheritance, though I was the one who had shown promise. I was the one who was clearly chosen by the gods to carry the spark of our family forward. Now, I ensured that his plan would fail and confronted him that evening. He laughed in my face. So I picked up a dagger and I stabbed him through the heart. What happened next I'm not entirely sure of, though I have my hypotheses. I believe that he had tethered his body and soul to the thing that he had been working on. I suppose there was an arcane backlash from all the magical tinkering he had been doing over the years, these spheres he had been working on. And it annihilated the room. I was able to channel some of the arcane energies to put an objective field around myself and my family. It appears that your mother was able to do so as well. Brockton, I believe your mother to still be alive.
Well, she is. That's why you sent the, what was his name, Scorncrow after her yesterday? Yes?
I suppose it could seem that way, does it not? Scorncrow is not beholden to me, my dear boy. Scorncrow is a creature of this vile plane. Scorncrow is a creature of deceit and hatred. You see, when Father worked on his project, he didn't think the consequences through. But channeling so much arcane power through a small funnel, much like a watering hole, a lake would attract many a bestial creature to drink and sap from it, so it did with these planar points of ingress into the material plane. The fool created an aberration of sorts. Do you remember the grove behind the house, Brockton? It's now is a focal point for vile Shadowfell magic. And it is, I believe, the reason that I'm still tethered to this place. I had to protect my family, so certain arrangements were made over the years as I worked on perfecting the craft. I will admit I was a willful, temperamental youth, but with time comes clarity and wisdom, something that I'm still trying to teach the next generation. Brockton, I mean no ill will between you and I. I did not send Scorncrow towards your mother, but Scorncrow and her have a feud that now has been going for a long time. You see, your mother, I suppose you have met her?
Yes.
She has lost her mind. The Fey magic has warped, broken her. Where I was able to master myself within the new environment, she let the environment master her. Weakness, really. But what was to be expected? Your mother needs help. I think you and I should help her together. Break her out of the madness that has taken her. The hysteria.
I think the first step to that is, the second reason I'm here. We need to free Sadea from the tree in the grove.
Interesting. You say you have no magical potential, and yet you seem to be quite aware of many ongoings of this place. I'm impressed, Brockton.
We spent some time the last day or so, by our reckoning anyway, in the Fey Ward with Mother.
I'm surprised
And,
you're still alive. From what I hear, she is a formidable foe.
She recognized me enough, I think, to regain some semblance of sanity for a time at least. But we found a scrying bowl of sorts, and I tried to find Bicilla and found her corpse stuck to that tree.
Unfortunate.
And apparently, Sadea sensed the scrying and called out to me through it.
There may be rituals to attempt to bring your sister back from the dead, if you'd be interested in such.
Right now, I'm more interested in keeping my other sister from dying, so that I can meet her.
Interesting. You would want some Fey-born creature's life to be preserved over that of your flesh and blood human sister?
I've spent the last 25 years of my life studying and practicing medicine. Death is a part of life.
Oh, you mean the chirurgic practice of brutally cutting people open and stitching them back together with yarn? When magic exists, why would you waste your time on such trivial, barbaric methods?
Because some people... I do not have the magic myself, and I wanted to help those who did not have access to it.
Yes, I suppose the rebel needs to be taken care of as well. Well then, Brockton, I may be capable in helping you recover this Fey sister of yours. Would you be willing to, how do they call it, make a deal? Guarantee my exit from this realm, me reclaiming our title, our name within the world, and you can be with your mother again. You can be with Sadea again, and the offer still stands, Brockton. I can bring Bacilla back.
That seems more the realm of divine magic, as I understand it, rather than sorceress magic.
Traditionally, it is. I must say, my reverence for the gods was never a strong one, but living within this realm, the supposed playground of, and he does look towards the twins, the Raven Queen. It is interesting, the things that you learn here, the things that you can do here, that are not capable to be done anywhere else. Besides, I have contacts that might be helpful with this.
So you suspect, and I imagine it's a well-educated guess, knowing you as I do, that something to do with the grove is what is tethered you here. Is that right?
It is my best guess, indeed. The house, as you can see, seems to be genuinely in good condition. I've worked on many of the things that Father left behind. There's, of course, some more secretive parts to it. I tell you what, once I am clear of this place, you're welcome to take whatever you need. I don't foresee I will need much aside from some of the wealth in the new world. The old world. Weird how it could be both.
What's the saying? Everything old is new again? Something like that?
Indeed. Cheers to that, my nephew.
Make a constitution save.
I have a question for your friends in the room. Seneschal Frank, I understand that you blame me personally for what happened to you. You have my apology, though I do understand that that is not enough. You have my offer to attempt to return you to your form, though I also understand your hesitancy in doing so. But I must tell you, this was my father's doing, not mine. If you want to target the one who's responsible for what happened to you, the one who messed so many things up that evening, who was able to transgress against the natural laws of planar bordering, well, I suppose he would be the one you'd want to address, though you cannot.
I don't know if I trust you or not.
That is fair. You two, representatives sent by the Raven Queen herself. I always wondered. This is more of an academic thought, so if you will humor me. If the Raven Queen resides within this realm, imagine if a god resided within the prime-material plane. If she saw injustice, terror, death, undeath, again and again, why does she not simply strike down those who live within her domain? Why does she not simply wither the tree that lives at the node that my father created? It is a genuine question. Sarcasm is perhaps detected but not intended.
I suppose she believes in balance. That all things should remain just as they are. More or less. It is also not her responsibility to interfere constantly.
It would be hassle-some as a god, would it not?
I suppose that's her business.
Suppose. Do you think it would gain me any favors if I aided you in ridding the Shadowfell of one more evil?
Probably not.
Oh.
At least it's not for me to say.
Worth a try, at least. Oh, you are the representative of the Raven Queen, or so Usk told me. Are you not?
You're correct. Isn't that right, Cece?
Yes. Well, I suppose that depends on your interpretation of the word representative, but yes.
A loosely defined term, then. I understand. In any case, that is my offer, Brockton. And does your group of adventuring heroes have a name for itself?
No. No, nothing quite so formal as all that.
I see. We can work on that back in the pro-material. Branding is important.
So I've heard.
As a side, I'm gonna reach my hand across the table to Marcus, just sort of searching for his hand.
Are we not sitting next to each other like
They
that
are.
would work?
You kind of reach across and you
Yeah, we
realize,
are.
oh shit, that's Bryn. And then,
Yeah.
No, wait, no. I mean like next to me. I'm
Oh,
gonna
next
slide
to
it
me.
like
Okay,
next
okay.
to me. Yeah,
Fine.
yeah.
I understood the across the table too.
Yeah, yeah.
Marcus will squeeze. Just
Yeah,
so mad
same.
right now.
Squeezing, and also Sebastian's hands are very sweaty. Like he is very anxious,
So are
despite
Marcus's.
trying to put on a demeanor.
Bryn and
Perfect.
Celine, what's going through your two minds? We'll go with Celine first and then Bryn.
I think Celine feels very at home here. It feels very serene to her. She thinks Vivesna looks absolutely stunningly beautiful. The dogs make things very calming for her. Yeah, I mean, he seems like a great guy to her. This is very, yeah, this is very much like where she comes from. So he's kind of seems like a nice guy, really. I mean, the whole killing thing. Sometimes you have to.
Like a goth daddy, a gaddy. Bryn, what is going through your mind?
I think Bryn is just kind of waiting to see which direction the situation goes, whether or not we decide to work with this guy or try and kill this guy, because like some of the points he's made are valid, but he also has just been like talking down to Brock the entire time and acting like nothing he could do other than what he wants him to do would work or be worth it. So I think he's just waiting to see when we hit that tipping point which direction it's gonna go.
Well, I suppose no absolution from the... What is her name? Shadow Queen? Raven Queen, that's right. I would still like to see...
That's correct.
reconciliation. Brockton, enough of a family's blood has been spilled. Father needed to be stopped. Basila is dead. Your mother's mind is shattered. I cannot effectively help her from here, and I will admit that for a long time I did not want to. It pains me to say, but this has been a prison to me. Many things have been accomplished during my term in it. I've grown, I've become wiser, but I would like to leave now. I would like your help in this. You seem to be able to cross thresholds easily, without tether, without issue. Will you aid me, nephew?
What assurances do I have that you'll follow through and help Mother?
That I won't hurt your mother. I would not hurt her, especially if I can get out of this place. There is no need. For a time, I suppose, once I found out where she was, that her being there acted as a weird balancing point between the planes. That by eradicating her, I would be able to wedge myself free, but arcane studies do not support this. It seems that even my father did not foresee such a circumstance to happen, so it must be something else that ties me here. Though what exactly that is, I am not sure of. One of my guesses has to do with the tree itself, Scorncrow, and the thing that he serves. They're ancient, dark spirits that have been feasting upon the dead as they are funneled within the Shadowfell for years. Once they found the tree itself, it was, well, I suppose just a serendipitous occurrence from their perspective. I bear them no love. I had to cower before them many a time, though I believe I have attained a sufficient power that I could lend aid, at the very least. So, my assurance would be that I am willing to help you, to end this, all of this. And you shall have my aid beyond. I believe I possess something important, something that might aid you. There is a piece of this puzzle I have not been able to reach. We have contacts in the material plane. We are able to send dark spirits through the veil. We're able to animate many of the corpses that lay about strewn in the mansion. They live on as ghouls now, patrolling the manor. I've been trying to, well, preserve what I could, though it appears that we are not good at controlling them. Which, Bryn, that 100% explains now why there were no corpses in the manor.
Thanks a lot, Crane.
I'll be frank, I have no assurances that you were not going to try to come in here and kill me immediately, and see this as a sign of good faith, that we can perhaps talk this out, come to a mutually beneficial agreement, and leave all of this behind us.
Excuse me, just sorry for the interruption, sorry.
Yes.
Are you saying that Scorncrow creature not under your control?
Not precisely. I sometimes can enact enchanting necromantic energy upon it, but largely it is under the control of the tree, as are many of the things around.
So was it or was it not you who sent it to attack Brock's mom in the Fey Ward yesterday?
I did not. Scorncrow did this of his own volition.
I could have sworn Scorncrow said something about you sending your regards.
I mean, I have to supplement. That is the mutually beneficial relationship I had to agree to with the tree. I provided with my Onyx Knights, and it tolerates my existence with them in the manor.
Just at the cost of your nieces.
I suppose so, yes. And you can judge me for this.
How brave.
Oh, not brave at all. Calculated, in fact.
This guy sucks.
I am willing to take remedial action to save your sister. Do you agree? Or should we end it here?
You understand, from my perspective, you've admitted patricide.
Indeed.
And clearly have no regrets, other than maybe a side effect was that it got you trapped here.
Of attempting to kill my father? Yes, I regret nothing.
You, at least for a time, sent agents to try to kill my mother.
I had to. That was less by choice. Again, I admit that for a time I thought that her demise would untether me, but I simply have not found any support in this. Thus, I was incorrect, and I regret my actions. Why else?
But you understand that it makes it difficult. You've shown no loyalty to your birth family, and that makes it difficult for me to trust you.
Indeed.
And surely, on a logical level, you understand that.
I do. I indeed do. Past mistakes of a fiery young man. Let bygones be bygones, Brockton. Your mother lives. I hope your father does too.
We don't know.
Oh, I apologize. Be that as it may.
I hope you did not turn him into a ghoul.
He seems to kind of just pause there, and passive insight, you could tell he is definitely not sure on that one. He's just kind of like,
Yeah.
huh.
I mean, I don't know if you really get to murder an entire family and then say let bygones be bygones. That just sounds really...
Yes, it does sound rather like the axe saying that to the tree.
Oh, what would have you have me do? Would you have me prostrate upon this table and wail with remorse? Put on an act, lie to you that I have seen the error of my ways? My father has brought down my family just as much as everything else. My mother's passing, blessed be her name. He kind of like giggles again. Unhinged my father. He almost ran the business into the ground. He did not have the family's interest at heart. He was going to attempt to avoid inheritance altogether. How did he have the family's interest at heart, I ask you? At that point, was it truly patricide or protecting the family against this overreach?
So the family being dead is protecting them.
Darius being dead is protecting them. You seem to live in a moment that existed decades ago. You seem to live under the perception that we are still at the moment when I drove that dagger into my father's heart. But that is not the case. Much time has passed. Would I kill Darius again if I had the chance? Of course. Would I attempt to hurt my sister, knowing what I know now? No. Should I have stood up to the power of the entity that lives within the grove? Yes. But did I have my own family to protect? Yes. And would I protect them again? Of course. That is what true family is about. Darius never cared for my wife because she was an elf. How does that make you feel? Do you still want to live in a time that was 20 years ago? Perhaps your kingdom still exists then. Though as I hear now, those days are also bygone. Unlike my father, I have an open mind.
I don't know, it all just seems very selfish.
Of course it is. That is what you can rely on in any rational agreement, is self-interest. So, let me ask you, Brockton, what is it that you want? Ideally, out of this conversation, you sat down instead of drawing your weapons, you conversed. Did you simply try to suss out information about what happened? Is that it? Or are you trying to save the family as much as I am?
I have no desire to see you or your family hurt. But I also, well, to be blunt, you've done nothing to earn my trust. What I would ask is that you help us rescue Sadeo with no assurances of us helping you escape. We'll see what happens afterwards.
Make me a blind GM persuasion roll, my friend.
Whew.
I will gladly do that. Let's see. Blind. There we go.
Can I give you my DM inspiration?
Sure.
Okay. And then give the DM inspiration.
Actually, hold up. Before you assign that, I was going to give everyone DM inspiration for playing into Myriad's multiple personality situation. So everybody can
I
say-
already have DM inspiration.
God
damn it, use them.
All right. Well,
I'm
then,
trying.
You
So
gave
since
it
this
to
is
me
blind-
in the last session.
David, since this is blind,
Mhm.
tell me if I should use my inspiration.
No,
Fair enough.
just roll twice. Just
Okay.
hold Alt as you roll it. That'll be the best
That's
way
fair
to do it.
enough.
Traditional, boring DM inspiration.
Traditional type. That's
Yeah,
fine.
how
I'm good with that.
boring.
Ah,
Way to nerf the DM inspiration, David.
unbelievable.
You did say persuasion, yes?
Yes, please.
Just double checking. All right. There we go.
It did not roll
It
with
is
advantage,
done.
so roll one more time.
Oh, it didn't. Great. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't after I pop the character sheet back in.
Brockton, I take your willingness to cooperate as an assurance in and of itself. Whether you intended to be as such or not, I see you as the future of this family. Together, we can rebuild what we had. We can make the name Corvinaris mean something again. We can make our house great again, if only we try. It is possible. We've fallen from grace, yes, but through concerted effort, there is a better future. So I am happy to help you remedy the mistakes that I've made and save your sister in the process. If you are interested, why, we can even save Bysilla.
If there's a way to return her, I'm certainly open to it.
There is.
Well, I can only speak for myself here. So, I ask the rest of you, do you have any objections to this course?
Please, I know that this is not a place that allows for easy, quiet conversation. Food has been brought up, by the way, during this entire process, as you guys see, kind of like a lot of beets and potatoes, kind of like dour-looking soup. Overall, it's very tart. It is nourishing, but
It almost leaves like an ashy taste in your mouth. Again, for you, Sebastian and Celine, tastes like home.
The good stuff.
We will leave you to discuss this over. You have the room to yourselves.
Truly, or will you be listening in on that too?
Well, I promise
It's
you.
a fair question.
It is a fair question. I appreciate a mental sparring partner that actually has the acumen necessary to counter such. I make you a promise that I will not listen in. I have things to discuss with my son that do not pertain to this conversation. In preparation on the assault of Scorncrow, the tree, we will aid you. We will together charge the evil that sits within that grove, and we will remedy the wrong that has been done here. I am willing to do what is right for the sake of my family, which includes you, Brockton. With that, Bax. Yes, Kryn. Please escort your mother out of this place, if you would. There's this kind of start heading out. Walking by you guys. Anything fancy happen as they walk by? I'm guessing there's going to be furtive looks, snappy remarks, anything like that.
Marcus does want to try and get a good eye at
Yeah, one.
Lavesna. Did I get the name right? Lavesna?
It's
yeah.
Vivesna. Vivesna.
Vivesna. Okay, thank you.
Make me an investigation or perception check, your choice.
Oh boy. My choice. Well, I guess we'll go with the slightly higher one.
Oh.
Yep, checks out.
Woof.
Oh, the 18. Nope. No dice.
You can tell that she clearly seems to be capable of casting magic of some sort, though what it might be and exactly how it works might be beyond you. And she kind of like stumbles over Bren, and she kind of puts a hand on your shoulder as she kind of looks upon you, and you can see Undeath.
Yeah,
With
she's dead.
glowing
Yeah.
Blue eyes just pierce into yours. The fingers underneath the gloves, you can kind of feel them push through, squeeze into yours, and there's flesh pushing back. Go ahead and make me a perception check.
Okay.
You get a scent of slight, sweet rotting coming off of her that has been very much masked with a whole bunch of perfume. And as she kind of smiles with the mask kind of covering the upper half, you can actually tell that the skin is alive in places. It is almost like a necrotic curse that has taken over parts of her body, but is completely not, or that's not true, but is affecting other parts. But she is alive, and she is not. You've never seen anything like it before. As Kryn kind of grabs her and rights her again, he kind of stops before he turns out as they open the door and puts a hand on your shoulder, Brockton. I know words will not make it right, and I hope my actions will prove to you that I am trustworthy. Though it might be out of self-interest, I consider you to be part of my family as well, and I would do this, even if it was just for you. I apologize that I have not acted sooner. I did not truly consider Sadea to be part of our family. I had been reprimanded for attempting to intercede with Basila's fate, but life is complex here. It is a lot of intrigue and politics. I hope you and your compatriots will take this into account as you likely attempt to assassinate my character in your ensuing conversation with one another. But for what it's worth, it is good to see you.
Yes, perhaps strangely for me in a way, that it's good to see you as well, and to see that you have calmed. You were always such a angry man, it seemed, when I was young.
The twitch of the left eye again.
Yes, this place has a way of tempering. You cannot help but to feel it. It has been a long time, Brockton. A very long time. Well then, you must try the dark chocolate. It is to die for. I hope to hear from you soon. Please call for Usk when you are ready to parley further.
And with that, they all kind of leave, and Usk just kind of nods towards you, Brockton, and closes the door. As it is now just you all in here. The candelabras and candles flicker weakly. You can tell that the light itself seems to have a hard time burning within this plane.
Brockman,
Yes.
if I may be the one to start this, you do recognize the pattern in which he talked about everyone but him.
Yes.
He is blameless in his eyes,
Of course he is. Yes.
and
That's what the man I knew.
you recognize that should you try to work with him, if he does come back to the material or other plane, you will likely be under his thumb and the scapegoat for any wrongdoings of the family because, well, your mother will not be around. It will fall upon you.
Well, I have, even if he should manage to return, I have no intention of staying around. But I take your meaning. I don't trust him.
No, God, it's okay. God.
I trust him to do what he needs to pursue his own best interest. I 100% trust him to do that. And I believe in this case, that includes helping rescue my sister and possibly even resurrecting my lost one.
You think he's going to truly resurrect? I saw those
I'm
dogs.
concerned about that, to be
Yes.
honest.
I do think whatever he's got himself wrapped up in with this tree, don't quote me on this, but I think it may be keeping his wife alive. She seems like she's almost stuck in between a state of living and undeath.
Based on what we saw of the tree's victims, it's more likely that he's somehow keeping her alive and it's what's trying to kill her. At least to my way of thinking.
I think we should discuss more about this deal he made with the Scorncrow, the tree, whatever ancient creature Scorn adds to himself. For all we know, we could just be the next delicious offering.
For what it's worth, Doctor, my sister means a great deal to me. And if anything were to happen to her, if she was in a tree somewhere, I would do everything in my power to get her back. I would go to the hells if I needed to. So, again, for what it's worth, whatever you need, you'll have me to get your sister.
Thank you, Sebastian.
Well, I don't trust him, and I still think we should just kill him and find another way to bring your sister back to life. But that's my 2 cents. Do with it what you will.
I do find it interesting that he's trapped here. If he is trapped here and we solve that, that might solve my problem of being trapped. And then you can get your Henry back. And we can be on our separate ways.
It's a fair point.
Wonder if we need to destroy the tree on the prime material. I wonder if it's the crux of the anchor for everyone. If somehow it became the focus of this magic, or if Grandfather was using it as some kind of focus. Because it seems to be a powerful... Well, the glade at least seems to be a place of power on both in both the Shade Ward and the Fey Ward. So,
To be fair, we haven't really gone to look at the tree.
no, we haven't. This is just speculation on my part.
Well, no, I'm agreeing with you. It's somehow we've managed to completely avoid that tree the whole time.
Well, it is outside. Bit far
Oh.
away.
Only one of us can't go outside, and I don't really care about that person. So
Oh. Oof.
Oh, it's on the grounds. He was able to go to the glade in the Fey Ward, so he can probably go to the tree.
I did not feel the pull in the Feywild, though. But I do say we investigate the tree here. I mean, that is where your sister is at anyways, right? So we have to go
Yes.
there.
Yes.
maybe we can at least get her out.
And I do believe we shouldn't be too hasty to enact any ill will upon Brockton's uncle. He did mention a couple things about disrupting your grandfather's ritual, and it seems he had an idea about what was going on. Perhaps I can shed some light on this whole thing, and the more information we have,
To my way of thinking, Marcus is right. We have, I don't want to say nothing, but very little to lose by accepting his help in this effort to free Sadea. He may have taken what I said as a acquiescence to his deal, but it's not. And while there's no courts here to decide whether it can be enforced or not, I at least feel like I have been forthright with him, so I will feel no compunction about leaving him here if that proves to be the best course.
I do also worry about his anger. Don't think if he's at all under the effects I'm under currently, it doesn't mean that he's unlearned his temper. It's just been weighted down. Who knows what will happen if he comes out and...
Well, I noticed a bit of a twitch a few times when things were said that implied questionable things regarding his past. That tells me that there's still definitely some of that fire there. But
I'm all
I
for
think if-
helping him because, and I hate being the person to say this, out of all of the people in this room or in this house right now, he knows the most about everything that's going on in the scope of things.
And he's the only one who successfully created undead.
Well, successful is carrying a lot in that
Oh.
sentence.
They're on wine. I think I need more.
I also
He might be able to teach you something.
I also did summon an entire undead entity to protect your mother in that last fight we were in, but it's fine. But the moment it becomes detrimental to any of us, I am not against completely trying to take him out.
That's where I stand. I want the part of me that still has that childlike wish for my family to be able to be a family again wants to believe that he's changed, but that's a very small part of me.
I do not think there is enough therapy in this plane.
I will not believe that he has until I have seen it. Just because I wish it were so on some small part of me wishes it were so, I will not be fooled.
You know, and realistically, you know, so what if he has a bit of a temper? I mean, we just get your sister, we bring him back, he gets to run the manor in the way that he wants to do it, and you never have to see him again.
I'm not sure he'll be content with that for very long, but
We can deal with it as it comes.
I feel as if Mother has no intention of leaving the Fey Ward, and of course, whatever we do to free him may free her as well, but it's hard to say. But I intend to, at least for a time, stay where she is once we have this resolved.
I guess now it's just a case of, do we wait for him to come back, or do we just go to the tree?
We should
Well,
probably call back Usk.
I'm a believer in keeping potential enemies where you can see them. So
I stare at Myriad.
I do believe we should accept his offer. If he's with us, he won't be working against us in a way that we can't see. And I'm afraid if we refuse him, he will do exactly that, out of spite.
I mean, the hope is that kills us. He kills his best way of getting out.
It is in his best interest right now to keep us alive.
If destroying the tree would kill his wife and he's vehemently against that, then what do we do?
I mean, it seemed like he was perfectly fine with destroying the tree / the entity within there, so... At least that's about how I read it.
Besides, anything for the family name.
I think there's still enough that we don't know that all we can do is agree to accept his help and keep our heads on swivels, as it were.
Well, tell him I'm in as long as he provides us with at least 2 more corpses.
Oh, what is... Oh. Oh,
Actually,
Feel
wait,
free to ask him if he
3
has any
more
laying around.
corpses.
Feel free to ask him if he has any laying around that you can borrow, have. I don't know.
I mean, it's like an
Use,
indefinite.
Violate. I don't know what the right word is for what you do with them.
Ooh, that's a bit far.
I mean,
I'm sure some necromancers.
I didn't mean like that.
Nope.
So are we agreed then?
I'm fine with it.
Celine and Sebastian, you guys have clearly been mentally communicating with one another. What has been going on between the two twins? What do you think you have been mentally communicating with one another?
Mentally.
Or you can just read the chat, whichever is easier.
There's no chat. I think. I don't think there's really any like super mental communication going on between the two. I mean, unless Cece had something that she wanted to say to me. But I am definitely very concerned for Marcus's safety. I think that's what's going on in Sebastian's mind alone. And his priorities have changed a little bit. That's about it.
Yep. Celine can tell that Sebastian is worried for Marcus, and so she is on her very best behavior and gonna do whatever it takes. And make Marcus and her brother happy. Brockton by proxy.
Yep.
All right.
Everybody wins.
Sebastian and Celine, I need both of you guys to roll me a D100, please.
$33.
Butte.
It's a big number.
14.
That's even bigger. Wow. Oh my god.
And I need both of you guys to make me wisdom saving throw.
Oh no, you're dead now.
Oh. Okay. Dirty 20.
All right.
13 for me.
Sebastian, maybe it is because you've always been a bit more on the irreverent side of things when the Church of the Raven Queen was drilled into your mind at the weird, otherworldly boarding school that you grew up in. The teachings of undeath were clearly something that was sanctimonious, blasphemy to the Raven Queen. But to you, in this moment, it is nice to have ghostly servants serve you meals and creatures in shadowy armor standing attention. If anything, you appreciate it deep down a little bit. So you smile. But really, the only thing that's coursing through you is not hatred, but maybe a little bit of love. So you squeeze Marcus's hand just a little bit tighter. Celine, though, you are a righteous warrior of the Raven Queen, standing in a house that, although it is outwardly beauty, the sacrilege that is contained within has you internally boiling as you look at this undeath, reanimation. That is something that you have looked aside with Bryn for a long time, maybe too long, and this anger is just boiling up. All of you guys can see the red flush into her cheeks. Years of having been trained on how to destroy the undead, to end undeath, for it is the most vile thing one can do, especially in the face of the Raven Queen, are showing through, and your religious indoctrination is something that you're having a hard time to put aside. It's not impossible. This is a character choice of yours. But just know that Celine in this moment would feel hatred. Utter, unadulterated, seething hatred at this scenario. And that is when Celine's eyes roll into the back of her skull as you kind of like suddenly yank backwards. And you find yourself once again soaring over the path that leads carriages, but this time just a singular one to the manor. Clearly in the prime material, sunshine baking down. You see a young Kryn and a beautiful elven young Vivesna sitting in the carriage.
Her son is much, much younger, but he seems to have had a penchant, a fascination with tools of death, even at that age, playing with a perfectly functioning light crossbow across his lap at maybe 8 years old.
When are we going to get there, Mother?
We'll be there quite soon, my dear.
This is boring.
Please be patient. We're here on very important business. You see a look exchange between Vivesna and Kryn within that carriage as it's kind of rattling up. Go ahead and make me an insight check, Celine, if you would. With advantage. A 15 tells you that there's something here. There's a conspiratorial look of lovers. That look that people who are just freshly infatuated with one another give each other. That mixture of desire and knowing each other's thoughts without needing to say words. And danger. As the cart rattles along, it suddenly comes to a stop in front of the beautiful manor as it stood so many years ago. Usk, much younger in his years, steps forward.
Lord Kryn, welcome to the estate.
In Elven, Lady Vivesna, welcome. Lady Ilana is already preparing tea for both of you. Darius sadly is away on affairs currently.
Oh, no worries.
Can you lead us directly to the tea room?
Of course.
You watch as they all walk. Celine, make me a perception check with advantage. Another 15. They step forward, and you can see Vivesna slide a bone wand out of the folds of the inner seam of one of her sleeves as it kind of drops against her middle finger as the crow kind of flies around, flies to one of the side windows. As you kind of take up residence in one of the trees, looking inside, you can see Ilana, the grandmother of Brockton's, mother to Kryn, laugh and entertain. She clearly has love for her son, but she seems more reserved to Vivesna. It seems that she treats her with a poised coldness, maybe even a bit of a disregard towards the young son. Make me an insight check, again with advantage. And you can see it, the disdain for their elven blood. You can see that she does not approve of their relationship, of them clearly being wed to one another, of this bastard son being introduced to be the heir after Kryn, rather than the blood, a true Corvinaris. You can see it display there. As she turns away to prepare something, you watch, going off with that natural 20, and you can see Vivesna's beautiful smile drop away into a sneer. And she gives Kryn a look, and Kryn, you can tell there's concern, a searching across the table of uncertainty. But then their gazes meet, and there's just such a burning intensity in Vivesna's eyes. He almost shyly nods as Vivesna takes out the wand, waves it ever so gently, and points it at the teacup from which Ilana had sipped. Without a sound, subtly, you watch Ilana return. The tea party continues, and suddenly the time seems to change. You fly away, you come back, you fly away, you come back, and it's a insane passage. But as you return, you see once again Ilana sitting there sipping, and on the first day she seems to have a hard time focusing. On the second day, she seems to actively fall onto her knees. On the third day, she can not walk anymore, has to be pushed around, carried by the servants. And on. You watch as Ilana wastes away from the curse that Vivesna clearly had placed upon the tea. In full sight of Kryn, and with his blessing. Celine, you kind of come back out as they all kind of like, everyone was kind of turned towards Celine's like, so what do you think? And you kind of come back out of it.
Are you alright? What just happened?
I've just had a vision.
Of what?
Vivesna cursed Ilana and Krinu.
Cursed how? When?
Tricky. Both answers to that. Oh. Something she drank.
Was there a reason why?
Was it because Ilana was rude to Vivesna?
In
Did I
the
get that
direct
right?
situation that seemed to check out, from what you've learned, Celine, in your time on the material plane, with the crown in particular, is that the nobility is cutthroat, backstabbing. There are many of these intrigue games that do happen, but this seemed to be vile. Kryn, as far as you understand now, was next in line to inherit anyway. And then we'll go off of the 24. It clicks in your brain. You realize Ilana was probably going to push Darius to disinherit Kryn anyways, due to his marriage to Vivesna. That must be the motive.
Ilana was disapproving of the match of elves.
That's... I'd like to say that doesn't seem like her, but I only knew her as a young man, a child, really. I was off to school for most of the time that I would have been old enough to start appreciating her as more of a person than just my grandmother. It doesn't feel right to me, but perhaps Usk could give us some insight into her true feelings toward elves.
Do I have any knowledge of her insight towards elves? Like, did she really need to?
Ilana was not necessarily... She was not one of the overt races that called for the total war against the Elven Kingdoms, but she came from a line of nobility that saw those wielding primal energies as those who destroyed the border between planes and caused many a monster and terror to haunt the countryside. There were some of you, Mariette, who very much shared that view. You, however, get to decide how Frank the Seneschal felt about it.
Your grandma was... She was never overtly, against elves, but she had the tendencies of most nobility of that time of they just didn't care for them, and they, blame them for a lot of the wrongdoings of the world going on, right? So I can see where, she probably was going to do the vision, as Celine had talked about.
I'm still curious as to Usk's experience, given that he's half elven. But I don't disbelieve you. But that, if this is... I have no reason to not believe Celine's vision, and this makes me quite angry.
So is Kryn the good guy then? Yeah, he killed a few people. I still but and maybe your grandpa was tried to become immortal somehow, and maybe he is to blame, and maybe I should hate him.
How is Kryn the good guy if he allowed his wife to put a wasting disease or curse or whatever on his mother just because she didn't approve of their wedding, their marriage?
Maybe good guy is not the correct term, but not in the wrong necessarily, right? I mean, he was just trying to have the love of his life, and I guess he could have gone out and branched out and done other things, but I guess it was selfish, right? It's definitely a gray area.
It is possible for them all to be at fault. It seems more likely. They all have problems. I mean, Vivesna didn't, handle, whatever was happening to her correctly. I mean, she poisoned your grandmother, and your grandmother was in the wrong because she was ostracizing somebody for just existing, and Kryn was in the wrong because he allowed it to happen, and he also has a temper, and your grandfather was obviously in the wrong because he seemed to bait Kryn into causing a problem at the announcement.
Mm-hmm. I mean, all families have their issues, but it appears that mine was, what's the vernacular? Especially fucked up?
True. But that is why sisters are very important, and that's why we're going to get yours back.
Yes, that needs to be the focus right now. That absolutely needs to be the focus right now. I will deal with Kryn's matricide, or at least complicitness to matricide, later. Right now, we need him to not be opposed to us in any way, and we need his help.
We need to get to that tree.
Yes. Very much so. I suppose we should call for Usk at this point.
I think that's appropriate.
You guys call for Usk as the butler enters into the room.
Yes, Master Brockton.
Before you let my uncle know that we're ready to speak with him again, I have a question for you.
Kind of looks over his shoulder towards the two knights.
Yes, of course.
I would like you to speak honestly.
Uh-huh.
In your time serving my family before my grandmother's death, did she ever treat you badly due to your elven heritage?
I must admit, Sir Brockton, since you asked me to speak openly, she was narrow-minded. She believed that elves engaged in blood rituals as a rite of passage. Something she had heard from a friend at a tea party. Not quite correct. There are some sangromancers who do engage in these practices, but no, it's not widely practiced or condoned within the circles. If anything, your father had insisted on me as the one to become the ward of the house so that her mind might be opened some more. We spoke about this once. He said to never mention anything to Ilana. He knew of your mother's gift, Sir Brockton. He was keenly interested in bridging the gap. He saw all peoples as just different iterations of one people. No true difference. Just simply different approaches to living, to being alive. And together, we made it our mission to enlighten your mother. I apologize, it sounds patronizing. I don't mean it in this way. Your mother was a phenomenal woman. She was well-read. She was truly the brains of your business. Your father was always more arcane-focused. In the end, I believe Ilana and I were close friends. I'm sorry that she passed.
As were, I suppose I should say, most who knew her. Thank you for being honest with me.
Of course, Lord Brockton.
If I may ask a question.
Of course.
Are you safe here? I mean, we're the intruders, and yet you seem to be the one the most nervous saying anything. Well,
it is a complex household that we have here. I've carried on my duties as best as I could. It appears that my life here has brought forth my elven blood more, which is interesting. It is something that Lord Corvinaris has pointed out many a time. I know there was much anger in the beginning. Lord Corvinaris blamed me for the change of the will. The late Lord Corvinaris had... I don't know why, what madness got into him, but it issued a decree by which I should inherit a sizable sum of the estate, which made no sense. I did not ask him to do this. I did not want him to do this. I did not mean to cause any of this. There were many years of blame and hatred, of distrust. I served as best as I could. I attempted to leave a few times, but much like Lord Corvinaris, I could not. I could not. So we came to an agreement. I would continue to serve as I had upon the prime material, and in exchange, he would keep me safe from the reach of the tree, the Skronkro. And he has done so. I am sorry for what happened to Bysilla. I talked sense into him. I attempted to. And he listened. Though from what I hear, it was already too late. I wish
Did
I
he
would...
bring her here?
Skronkro did, but your uncle aided. Your uncle has inherited your grandfather's mind for the arcane. He's quite prolific at it, really. if that is all the questions, I suppose I should get Lord Corvinaris.
Is there anything we should know about this tree and Scorncrow and whatever entity resides in the tree? Is there anything you can tell us?
I only saw it with my own eyes once. It is hideous, monstrous, a maw that opens as the tree speaks. Vile, evil, truly the worst that this plane has to offer, distilled into one being of hunger and avarice. I apologize, Lord Brockton. I do not know of its powers or assessment of what it might be able to do. I can only tell you that it is violent. It strikes fear into any that stand against it. Even Lord Corvinaris seems weary of it. I would not underestimate it.
Thank you, Usk.
Of course, Lord Brockton.
David, did
Yeah.
he at all ever bring that tea that he talked about to help Marcus?
You kind of seem like
Data?
kind of looking around. He's like,
Oh, Balathander, I forgot. I will be right back.
No, you're okay. You're okay. I don't know if it actually. It's just sorry.
does
All
it
his
make-
talk about how terrifying this tree is makes me think I'm not ready.
He does come back, but this time it seems that he has brought Kryn with him. He sets down the tea next to you and then kind of backs up.
Well then, it appears that we have come to an understanding of some kind.
Yes. We
Good.
we will accept your aid in rescuing Sadea, and we'll take it from there then.
Let it be a sign of trust between us. And from there, we shall smith plans for the future. To the Corvinaris family.
Oh, are we drinking?
I mean, if you want to.
Lots of drinks.
And with an interesting dinner with a very flawed man. The fuck is this Curse of Straw?
Oh.
We'll leave it in for tonight's session of A House Divided. Man, oh man! More of the mystery comes to the surface. Oh,
Yeah.
before you log off for the day, if you guys want to throw us a follow, we'd very much appreciate that so we can bring more content like this to you guys in the future. We're working on a really big project that I'm super excited about. I know the others are maybe a little bit.
It's
But
okay.
It's okay, but we're excited about that in the future. We will obviously wrap up House Divided eventually, and then go back into Odyssey of the Dragon Lords with our Light of Thylia stream. But after that, a big project is underway. So please follow us so that you guys stay up to date with that. That said, I'm going to raid another channel as we're going to the ending screen, so please stay around so we can help another streamer with that as well. But what a session, y'all. Favorite part, I still gotta say, MVP goes to the entire cast for being the multiple personalities of Myriad. Very well done. Very well done.
Damn it, George.
Damn it, George!
Damn, George.
Alrighty, with that, we're going to go into the outro screen. Is there anyone that you guys want to shout out for a good option?
I'm usually playing this game at this time, so I don't really know who's streaming right now.
You don't watch two different things at the same time? Unbelievable.
None of the people I follow are streaming right now,
All right.
except for us.
Perfect. Alrighty, with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you next time.